So, question number one. I'm working a 60-hour work week in my business, and everyone says I need to hustle harder and grind more to grow. I'm not sure if that's the best approach. How do I actually go about building a business that gives me more time instead of it just consuming it all?
Well, I
That's
think that's probably one of the questions that a lot of people ask themselves, like when they're alone, they're driving down the road, and they go, "I don't know, I've been working 60 hours a week." Well, okay, well, it depends what you're doing, right? Or you're probably just if you use the same time, energy, and effort and do something different, then you're gonna have different results. But typically, people, it's a common thing. This is what most people do because they do what they're taught, what most people are taught. They probably, you know, we look at everything from the perspective of freedom. So if you're doing something for freedom, you're going to go about it just a little bit differently. If you're looking at what people do in like corporate America, or you went to school and you got your MBA in business and you're out there doing it, this is probably what's going to get you 60 hours a week of work a week and never getting free and never understanding why, because you're working really hard at what they taught you how to do. But they probably didn't teach you freedom. They taught you what the employers want you to know. And by the way, let's just say, for example, like I graduated from the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, and if you go there, they have a very renowned business school, and all the kids are trying to get into it, and Carlson School of Management. And if you walk down the hall, what you'll see are building or rooms, classrooms, and conference rooms sponsored by some of the biggest businesses in town. And those businesses who are donating a lot of money to the school, do you think that they want these kids to come out educated in a way that they're a cog that fits corporate America? Or do you think they want them to be educated in a way that sets them free?
definitely A.
What do you?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So they're not teaching. They're not incentivized to teach freedom. And really, what professor that you know of is really free. And so they've never really lived it, experienced it. Kids want it, and they think that by going to school and learning the stuff that they teach at a renowned school, that's what they're going to get. But they don't. And then they get out and they're trying to apply it, and they're looking around, they're grasping at straws, trying this, trying that, trying all kinds of different things, and nothing ever quite works. And what they grasp at is typically what they see, what's advertised. And so a lot of the stuff that's advertised, whether it's training or tools like CRM, for example, uh, uh, there's it's not based on freedom. It's based on what everybody else is already taught. Basically, they're taking what's been taught and like polishing it, like trying to make it better, trying to make it better. My experience when doing that is I could do better than the average person just by working harder, but then that leads to burnout. So what this person is experiencing is typical. And so what we do is we go, okay, just stop for a second. Let's just do a quick exercise. Step aside and let's look at this a little bit differently. And so you can always go back to the old crappy ways of 60 hours a week and hating life. That's okay. You can always do that. But so what we do is go, look, what is it you're trying to build? Like if you're trying to build a garden shed in the backyard, you're probably not going to just show up with a bunch of lumber and screws and a hammer and some nails and some shingles and whatnot and kind of do this on the fly and try to put it together. You're probably going to work from a plan. And so what we do is we go, all right, the first thing you put business aside, because people often look at work and life, business and personal stuff as different. And I think it's more like it's stacked. If you want the life that you want, then you need the business to support it. So first we need to understand what even we want in life. So we describe that, really, if I was living my best life, here's what it would be. And then what we need to do is also understand how much that costs. So if it costs $10,000 a month, okay, so to live my best life, I need a business that's going to make me $10,000 a month, and I need to be able to have that $10,000 in a lot less time than I'm doing now. And so when I look at my blueprint of what I want in life, how much time, how much money does it cost, and how much time away from work do I want? And so, okay, so now I've got it all figured out, what I want in life. Now I go, all right, I need to figure out my business, whatever that is, the thing that I'm doing to fund that life. I need to figure that out in a way that does that. It funds the money and it funds the time in a way that I enjoy, right? So I need to at least be challenged in a good sort of way, uh, being able to make the money and have the time. So now it's my job to figure out how to adapt it. So I need to figure out, all right, is there a business type that I can get into that once I figure it out will give that to me? We love passive income. And if I, and so I, I think the only way I do something that's not passive income is if it took a really short amount of time, very little preparation, and I made a $500,000. That's my gauge. If I can make a $500,000 really quick doing this, and it's a one-off, and it doesn't take me away from this other thing much, then I would do it. But those things don't come up very often. They're not sure. They're not most things. So what I like to do is I like to build passive income. And so because when I build $10,000 a month in passive income, if I don't work at all the next month, I have all the time and I still have $10,000. And if I don't work the next month, I probably have the same. At some point, it's probably going to dwindle off a little bit, depending on what it is and what people are buying, what they're subscribing to or what you've sold them or what they're using. But that's how I look at it. So what can I do to build passive income that's going to stick? I want something that sticks too. So there's a lot of flaky stuff out there and stuff that's not really passive income. Passive income isn't repeat income. It's not like the guy keeps buying bananas from you. That's not passive income. Passive income is like a subscription. I pay for a subscription, my phone service, my utilities. We do credit card processing, for merchants, and these things are integral. They're important in everybody's lives. It's not like I flip on the lights, I turn on the water. Utilities are a cool thing. If you can get into utilities and it cost anything, that's a really good one because people are going to live somewhere maybe for 20 years. You're going to have a client for 20 years. Software subscriptions are good. Again, we do credit card processing. So you get into that and then you go, okay. So and then if you just work the way you've always worked, you'll build that slowly but surely. The part that freaks people out about passive income is it's slow. It starts off at zero. So, there are other things that start a little higher, but it goes from zero to a little bit to a medium amount. And people have real problems with being patient for that growing. But what doesn't happen is this question that where they go, I'm working 60 hours a week and I'm not getting where I want to go. But with what we do, if you work 60 hours a week, you're probably going to build that pretty fast. And if you're doing it in a way that's not doesn't look like everybody else, or some way that's really effective, we found ways to double the speed. So we can build passive income twice as fast. It's still slower than going to get a job where you get $80,000 a year handed to you, and then you spend $80,000 and you're working 60 hours a week and you're not getting where you want to go. This is slower, but when you get up there, you can keep going. You can keep going. Again, personal experience. I wanted to make $20,000 back when I went, okay, what does this lifestyle cost? It was $20,000. And so, all right, how fast can I make $20,000? And it was pretty skinny. It was pretty lean there for a while. And I remember we lived in a townhouse in Maple Grove, Minnesota, and my wife's friends would come over, and they thought this is our life. We're living in this place. We're living in a townhouse. This is as good as it's going to get for us. And then suddenly we're building this different house, and we're driving different stuff, and the kids are going to a private school, and one of my wife's friends said, did somebody die? Because I figured you made a big shift. Somebody must have died. You made a lot of money, and all of a sudden you could do all these things. No, in the background, John was working his tail off, building passive income. And then pretty soon we're able to do these other things and do more and more and more. Uh, and passive income buys you a lot of time too. Back to that 60 hours, you can go months without doing anything at all. It's best if some of the passive income things you want to be around to help maintain. And like what we do, it's not a totally free. It's about a 1 day a week thing. About that much time, either 1 day a week or spread across the week, but it's very little time. So does that help? It's just so bring it back to what you do. They need to understand one, what is it they want to build in life?
Hmm.
Now, how much money and how much time in this blueprint? Most people spend more time designing a home or a room in their home than they do designing their life. So if you design that, understand how much time you want and how much money you want, and you want to do something that's challenging so it feels good when you win, okay, that's what we've got. Now what do we need to do business wise that's going to support that pay for it, fund it, that actually can do that and it doesn't take forever.